points to 22,567. KTRS Sports, the Cardinals rallied from 8-3 down to beat the Giants 9-8. Brendan Donovan had 4 doubles, while Ivan Herrera homered for the third straight game. And top Cardinals prospect J.J. Weatherholt has been named the Texas League MVP. Weatherholt has an OPS of 931 between Double and AAA this season with 17 home runs. KTRS weather today, scattered storms throughout the day, high of 73. Tonight, more rain expected during the evening time hours before clearing after midnight. We can expect an overnight low of 57. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 77. Right now, we have 69 degrees. The time is 10:08. I'm Sobe Bay, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
And now, the Frank and Jill Show. It's Frank Cusimano, Jill Farmer on the Big 550 KTRS, the talk of St. Louis. Powered by STL Medical Weight Loss. See the Dr. Joe difference at stlmedweightloss.com.
And good morning, and welcome to the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. We're here till 12 o'clock. Frank Cusimano, Jill Farmer, Connor McCarthy, good one lined up. Tariq Khan is going to join us at 11 o'clock, our Back to the Feature segment, Friday the 13th. And Jill, I think I spoke a little too early yesterday in terms of it being like really a crappy movie, because I tell you, the last 20 minutes wasn't bad.
Well, it's certainly, that's the apex of the
Yes.
of the thrilling, if you will, part of the horror movie.
I can't wait to get Tariq's insight and the backstories on this movie. Also, Sarah Fensky is going to join us, executive editor of St. Louis Magazine, editor of St. Louis.
She's got some really good hot topics today, too. I think people are going to find them juicy. We forgot to mention it yesterday, not because just because it slipped our minds, as things often do, but Shana Tova to all who celebrate. It is the Jewish New Year, and a lot of families coming together to celebrate the past couple of days, and so we wanted to mark that here as well.
And a congratulations to Jeff Gordon from the Post-Dispatch, my former radio partner at KFNS. He wrote a column today. I did not know this. I knew it was eventually going to come, but he is retiring. And he has this beautiful last couple of paragraphs I wanted to read. My enduring Post-Dispatch memory comes from walking the Stanley Cup parade route and soaking up the unrestrained joy of the fans as the team rolled by. Mm-hmm. They deserve this beer-soaked party, and they damn well were going to enjoy it. Well played, folks, and thanks for letting me write stories for you. So congrats to Jeff on an unbelievable career. And I think if you ask almost every media person who's ever been around, who's been around for a long time, if you say, what's the best sporting thing you ever covered, I think that would be it. I think that would win the ballot, because not even the game, because the game was in Boston. There weren't a lot of people from St. Louis, but that parade, that's the thing that got us all.
It was incredible. We actually walked from our house because we knew parking would be crazy, and it was the kids were in town. It was pure, just unadulterated joy. Everywhere you went, every people high-fiving everybody. It was just absolutely phenomenal.
The Rams parade was good, but it was really cold. And because the divorce was so bitter, you don't have quite the fond memories, although it was special. And the Cardinals have had, a couple of them, or quite a few. So I think the Blues, if you factor in the weight and the perfect day it was, number one.
Yeah, I was working the Rams, so I guess part of it for me was I have more of an association of like working, not just being there as a fan, and getting to enjoy all the revelry in the same way.
Royal Banks, Missouri, text line 84126. Your favorite moment, would it be the Blues Parade? By the way, you can watch us on YouTube and on Facebook.
Yeah, somebody else said that at the time, though. Why does this feel even different than the World Series wins? And I guess maybe it was just,
It's the first.
The first, somewhat
50 years.
Unexpected. There was just a lot of factors. Weather that day. I mean, it was raining, if you remember. A lot of us had umbrellas with us, but it was perfect by the time the players went by. It was just great.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you guys think? We are exactly 4 weeks away from Halloween. Instacart just released its announcement of what the Halloween candy that people order most. At least, I don't know if that's truly indicative of the most popular, but the most popular Halloween candy starting between now and Halloween in the cart. Any guess what it would be?
Let me think.
Reese's.
Yeah, you guys are both right. Top by a whole lot.
Kit Kat up there?
Followed by peanut M&Ms, regular M&Ms, and Kit Kats. Now, I don't...
What about that Sour Patch thing? Isn't that kind
Well,
of
that's
popular
what
with the
I
kids?
buy because I'm not tempted to eat them.
Oh, you don't like it?
Right.
Okay.
And kids do. And so I'm like, okay, this is a win-win situation. John always is like, oh, I think we need some chocolate in the mix too. And so he'll always pick up a few bags that never really make it into the hands of the Halloween kids, I notice.
Yeah, I was in the kitchen and I opened up one of the things last night.
Cupboards. It's a cupboard in the kitchen.
Is
in
that
case
called a cupboard?
Yeah, is that what it's
Isn't
called?
that kind of old school cupboard? Do they still call it that?
No, they do. Yeah,
I don't know what
on
else
top
you
of
could
something
call
called
it.
the counter, where
Yeah, I've
you
heard of
cut
the
things.
counter.
Okay.
But I found like 2 humongous bags of M&Ms. I go, what is she hiding from me? Oh my gosh! Like my dad, who loved my mom to death, that's the one thing he never gave her in her lifetime was chocolates. So and I've kept up the tradition, but she's hiding stuff.
Well, you don't think that that's for the grandkids, of course.
I don't know.
So she can be the fave. I would
Now,
guess that's what it is.
Did you eat any of them?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And now we have the answer why they're
did you
hidden.
tell her that you found them and were eating them?
No, I don't.
You're just going to wait for that one to get discovered in a week?
Yeah, one more quick candy data before we go. Utah households purchase 50% more candy than the national average. Florida, New York, California ordered the least. I wouldn't have thought that there was that much variation from state to state.
I wouldn't either. I guess Utah, they really like their candy.
Yeah. But still, and then I have to ask this final question. Where are we on candy corn, guys? Yay, nay? How about you guys on the text line, Royal Banks of Missouri text line?
No, it's gross. I don't like it.
I have unfortunately developed a new taste for it because a few years ago a friend introduced me to that candy corn peanut mix, which the candy corn taste goes away, and it's got this
I disagree. I still taste it.
A salty, sweet thing. I love it. So somebody brought it to book club last night, and I immediately brought it into the station today because I was like, I can't have it at home because I will eat. I will never eat candy corn if it's sitting in a dish by itself, but the candy corn peanut mix.
As long as there's peanuts in it, then.
Yeah, dangerous territory.
Top 25 trending costumes, according to Google: Shrunken Head Bob from Beetlejuice, Ray Gun, Catnap, Dolores from Beetlejuice, Pomni from The Amazing Digital Circus, Envy from Inside Out, Red from Descendants, Dr. Doom. Any of those ring a bell with you?
No, but that's because we don't have little kids anymore.
These are for adults.
Oh, those are for adults?
Okay.
Well, then we don't hang out with people who are still cool enough to still dress up for Halloween because we're too old. We're old
Beetlejuice,
adults.
not exactly the most recent franchise here. It's been around for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
Beetlejuice.
is it because of the remake last year?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm guessing so too.
All right, let's take a short time out. When we come back, the opening dialogue on the Big 550 KTRS.
Zero is your hero at HW Kia. Zero down, zero payments for 90 days, or 0% for 48 months. Even zero tariff pricing on every clearly marked new HW Kia in stock. Stuck in your loan or lease? Big D, the trade man, wants to get you released. Up to 120% over fair market value for your trade. Have a job clearing $450 a week? You're practically approved. Only at HWKia.com. Unapproved credit, not all will qualify. Plus tax, title, license, 587, title, and registration process fee. Negative equity, refinance, new loan. Expires September 6, 2025. Zero is your hero at HW Kia. Zero down, zero payments for 90 days, or 0% for 48 months. Even zero tariff pricing on every clearly marked new HW Kia in stock. Have a job clearing $450 a week? You're practically approved. Lease a new Seltos X, Nero LX, or Soul, just $99 a month. And you guessed it, zero security deposit. Only at HWKia.com. Unapproved credit, not all will qualify. Plus tax, title, license, 587, title, and registration process fee. Negative equity, refinance, new loan. 24 months, 10,000 mile lease. 49.95 due. Offers not a combination. Expires September 6, 2025.
Are you tired of looking at those old, worn-out floors? Have you been dreaming of new hardwood floors? Well, then you should start dreaming about Boardwalk Hardwood. It's their annual warehouse sale going on right now through the end of September at all 4 locations. At Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, half off new floors. You can get half off inventory and factory specials. and up to 25% off special order items. Their showrooms, 4 of them at Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, are filled with beautiful styles, great budgets, from timeless classics to modern designs and everything in between. Your home will look beautiful with gorgeous hardwood floors. Rich, stunning hardwood floors, courtesy of BoardwalkHardwood.com. For 25 years, Boardwalk has been your trusted, local, family-owned, quality flooring provider. And if you need hardwood floors, it's their annual warehouse sale now through the end of September at all 4 locations. Boardwalk Hardwood or BoardwalkHardwood.com.
Football is back, which means Dogtown is back. Dogtown Pizza, that is. And with 12 games on Mizzou's upcoming football schedule, you can have a different pizza every game. Kick off the season with a bacon, have a hot chicken on homecoming, and save that pepperoni peppercini, my favorite, for Arkansas. It's football season, and nothing goes better with the pigskin than a hot Dogtown Pizza. Let's cheer on those Missouri Tigers. M-I-Z... D-O-G, Dogtown Pizza, and dogtownpizza.com.
Are you looking for a simple, clean, budget-friendly, no surprises, no gimmicks remodel of your bathroom? Michael's Baths is who you call. Right now, when you call Michael's Baths at 636-775-0800, you'll get an estimate that's 30 to 50% less of everybody else, and they'll throw in a free shower door or $500 off a bath remodel. Michael's Baths, for 30-plus years, guaranteed happiness. michaelsbaths.com.
Hi, this is Stuart Rosenblum, president of Stewart's American Mortgage.
Stewie!
Mortgages are the biggest investment that a person's going to make in their life, yet most people don't know anything about it. Tune in for Mortgages and More with Stewie. That's me, where we can go over all the different types of mortgage programs in simple terms. You, me,
Stewie!
You'll become an expert after the first show.
Listen to Mortgages and More with Stewie, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on KTRS.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
Appliance Discounters has another showroom, this time on Gravois Road, right next to the little Dairy Queen that's been there for ages. This showroom is different. It's packed with name brands, GE, LG, Bosch, that are slightly dinged, one-of-a-kind, or closeout items direct from the manufacturer. They all come with the factory warranties and all the factory rebates. You want huge savings at big discounts, theappliancediscounters.com. To find the one nearest you, including the one on Gravois Road in Afton, theappliancediscounters.com.
And now the opening dialogue with Frank and Jill on the Big 550 KTRS. Powered by Worldwide Technology Raceway.
All right, thought one. As a big fan of women's sports, I'm excited about this potential story. The National Women's Soccer League is thinking about expansion, and St. Louis is one of the cities being considered. And my thinking is, why the heck not? I mean, I was talking with Bill McDermott, Mr. Soccer, earlier today about the number of girls select teams in the area. From Gallagher to Lou Fuse to Stars, there's just tons of them. There are so many young girls playing soccer. We also happen to have the top young player maybe in the country in Maddie DiMaria. And then the attendances for everything we do in soccer. City SC with such a terrible season, but they sell out every game, every MLS game. The academy teams sell out. The minor league teams sell out. Anytime we have a national game, the attendance is great. I don't see how this could not be a perfect fit with our soccer heritage, with that stadium. Let's hope we have another sports entity in our town.
That is going to be fun. Any idea on a timeline of when something like this might unfold?
And there are some other cities involved, though. There's 14 teams, like Cincinnati and Nashville. Every time Nashville's in there, I'm always worried because they seem to get everything lately. They say in the next couple of years.
Okay. So, and how is the franchise in Kansas City doing?
That's the Patrick Mahomes squad, and I
Right.
think they've done quite well attendance-wise.
That's what I've heard, and they certainly got a lot of publicity when they started. So
Yeah,
thank
and I
you.
will say this. Sometimes I look at those games on TV, and I don't see big attendance figures, but I think, boy, St. Louis soccer, we have a women's team here. I think it'd do well.
I think it would
We'll
too.
see.
It'd be certainly fun. Missouri Independent reporting this morning that our biggest individual insurer is going to be sending $90 million possibly back to you guys, to policyholders, because it spent too little on care and a little too much on administration. Ambetter from Home State Health, a subsidiary of the Clayton-based Centene Corporation, mailing checks to Missourians, $87.5 million in total, because it violated the medical loss ratio requirements of the Affordable Care Act. That just means that they spent a little bit too much money, again, on admin and not as much on care. United Healthcare also making some rebates to Missouri customers. We just don't know the amount they will be sending back.
That's good to hear. Hope. No idea on the amount, though.
No, what that's going to look like individually, because it's prorated based on a number of different factors. But good to say, if the rules, I'm just one of those people. If rules are rules, I'm glad somebody's paying attention enough to enforce them, especially on behalf of consumers, because that's a spot that's near and dear to my heart, Missouri consumers.
All right. As a former consumer reporter, it would be
Exactly.
near and dear to your heart. Thought two. So yesterday we had Derek Gould on our show, and Derek is the venerable Cardinal beat reporter for the Post-Dispatch. 3 decades of wonderful coverage. So I asked him, Derek, you're on a lie detector right now. How do you really feel about having to get on a plane and fly to San Francisco and leave your wife and cover a team under 500 in the final week of the season? He said, I actually love going to San Francisco, and it's baseball. I just worry about being on time for my connecting flight, which he wasn't, by the way. But anyway, I was wrong, because Derek Gould got to cover arguably the best game of the year. Unbelievable. And because of that win, the Cardinals actually stayed in playoff contention? Are you kidding me? They're still alive? Think about this. Next up for the Cardinals, the Cubs, and the Cubs have their best pitchers going today and tomorrow against the Mets. And this weekend, the Cubs, well, they just want to get ready for the playoffs as opposed to beating the Cardinals. Miami has won 11 of their last 12, and they have their best starting pitching going against the Mets. So in the words of Dumb and Dumber and Jim Carrey, I'm telling you, there's a chance. I don't know. But what a game last night. Enough sports talk, but it was thrilling last night. I don't know how many St. Louisans were watching. It was really late at night, but gosh, I couldn't turn it off.
And what a good setup, because that story, that's truly somebody who's doing what they should be doing, that even though you set them up with every opportunity to grouse about either about the team or about the experience of I have to go again, he was like, nope, this is great. I get to watch baseball, and I'm going to a great place that I like to visit.
Yeah.
Good reminder for all of us. For decades, bigger was better in American housing. McMansions more popular than gooey butter cake in some St. Louis suburbs. But according to the Washington Post, tide is turning. Median new home size dropped about 300 square feet, from 2,500 square feet a decade ago to about 2,200 today. Why? Affordability, changing family structures, growing number of buyers who just don't need or want the upkeep. Empty nesters, first-time home buyers, or singles who would rather skip the walk-in pantry and avoid a pricey HVAC replacement. Here in St. Louis, we certainly have that soft spot for the tidy South City bungalows or those rehabbed brick houses in Maplewood. Proof you don't really need 4,000 feet in order to have charm. And I guess who really does use that formal dining room more than once a year? I can see why it's happening.
Point.
You know, the Gen Xers who are now reaching that empty nest stage and will be approaching retirement in the next
What
few
age
years.
are we talking, Gen Xers? What are they? What's that?
Gen Xers are in 50s, so
Okay.
it's 50s down into, I think it's 35. What are the exact years of Gen X
Well, a
being
quick
born?
Google search says 65 to 80. That's 1965 to 1980.
Yeah, so the people that are born in 65 are
Okay.
turning 60. And so they're beginning the retirement process, and they're much more likely than previous generations to be willing to downsize before they have to. A lot of
much more likely. Okay.
And I can say, I mean, we did it as soon as our kids left for college. We went to almost half the square footage. Many of our friends have done it. And people who are older than us are a little shocked by it because they're like, don't you want to hold on to the family house to have all the family gatherings and all those kinds of things? And most people are saying we just don't want the upkeep. We want the simplicity. We want the freedom, and that's what we've done.
That logic. Now, how about this? Along those lines, but a little bit off of what you're saying. What about the yard? I'm inclined to think I don't need much property. I would much rather have a big house and very little yard. Big yards are just overrated unless you have a big dog. But I think like Brooke and Chris are always looking, and you don't need a freaking yard. Just get the biggest house you could afford, the best house you could afford, and don't worry about the yard.
Right. And that's just a personal preference, right?
Yeah.
People in St. Louis in the inner ring of suburbs tend to have more, in Clayton, you've got some 0 lot line houses, which are truly just the house and almost no yard. That's kind of what we have.
But then I guess if you have little kids, you want some kind of yard. But
yeah, you want, it's just changed with us. When we had little kids and 2 dogs, I wanted to open the door and let them run and let the kids be able to go out. And now, since we only have one little dog in a park close by, I don't need the yard.
How about people that are downsizing? I know a couple. They're actually not downsizing. They're going to a different house because their master bedroom is on the 2nd floor. So they're just strictly limiting their search to ranches where they won't have to walk up steps.
Yeah, gerontologists have mixed reviews on that. They say actually people who live in houses that have the stairs in them, it's kind of good for all of us. If you can get the aches and pains taken care of, there's something to be said for having that be a part of your daily activities.
Okay, thought 3, some quickies. Not a gambler, and I understand the opposition to gambling thoroughly, but please, why do people in St. Louis have to wait until November to start gambling, have to cross the river to bet on games? Surrounding states are making all of Missouri's money. Okay, for the 3rd time, Blackbird on Netflix is insane. More twists and turns than a roller coaster. I have 1 episode left, and it's like a piece of chocolate cake that I'm trying to savor and have it last and wait on it. I wish it was midnight right now and I was finished with work and watching it. It's insanely good. And finally, do you ever buy something at Costco or at Sam's and it's so big and you kind of know it's a bad decision because you'll eventually have to throw half of it away, or you take this attitude, you just feel like you got to eat it because you bought it. So I've eaten probably 3 pounds of broccoli. I bought enough broccoli that would feed a family of 4 for 3 weeks. And I finished it all last night in about 6 days. I made spaghetti con broccoli, broccoli with a ribeye, broccoli with a hamburger, broccoli with ramen noodles. I've eaten so much broccoli. I didn't want to throw it away. I don't know.
That's good. You might have headed off some cancer. That's because cruciferous vegetables have definite anti-cancer agents. So good for you, and good for you. Your grandma's proud of you for not throwing away anything and getting it all eaten for sure. Yeah, it isn't. I suffer occasionally from the positive intentions while I'm in the produce aisle at the grocery store and the lack of follow through when I have to throw it out of the. Throw it out of the produce drawer. Do you guys have any produce that seems to always make its way directly from the produce store to the garbage every week because you just can't quite get around to eating it? Celery is one of those ones for me. I think, I'll use it in, I'll make as part of the soup or something else, and it ends up pretty rubbery.
Doesn't happen.
Sometimes I'll use 2 stalks, and then the rest of it just kind of sits in there until it becomes very gelatinous. And no longer useful for anybody.
Broccoli is the one thing that Reggie doesn't beg for. He's no dummy.
Yeah, same. Frankie, it'll drop to the ground. Frankie will eat almost anything, except for vegetables.
Dogs are not dummies.
Quick book recommendation, particularly for anybody who has had addiction in their life or in family members or anybody you know and care about. Elizabeth Gilbert, of course, of Eat, Pray, Love fame. Her latest book is a memoir called All the Way to the River. And it's really about a lot of her shadows in some ways. It's called All the Way to the River, Love, Loss, and Liberation. It's raw. She tells of her love affair with Rhea Ellis, her best friend, partner, addiction survivor, who died of cancer. There's just a lot of upfront stories. She admits what happened, some dark thoughts that she had when she was caring for somebody who was unraveling. She also tells of healing, what it means to stand up, face your own reflections of someone else's suffering. It's stripped down, unguarded. It's not for everybody. It's definitely got some very controversial subjects in it as well. But I do think if you or anybody you know has been through addiction, the way that she writes, it's a very, very good exploration of that experience.
All right. Let's take our break. Oh, do you have a little bit of business
I
here?
do have just a little bit of business. Actually, it's one of my favorite pieces of business to talk about, which is Capital Advisory Group. Jeff Zufall, of course, the show, regular time this week, not being preempted by Mizzou football this week. So 3 p.m., make sure you tune in to hear Jeff along with Josh Gilbert of the Heidi Glaus Show. And Keep What's Yours. They always get to the most topical things, including like what happens when we have a rate break like we did from the Fed. What does that mean for your personal finances? And what should you be thinking about? That free advice is just absolutely priceless for the rest of us. But if you want to have it more personal and you want to actually have somebody take a look at your accounts, take a look at everything in your life and say, here's exactly the roadmap you need to live the retirement life of your dreams, Jeff and his team are here to do that for you, and they do it with an extra set of skills that many people in wealth management don't have, and that is a deep, intense knowledge of tax laws to make sure that you don't overpay on your taxes. CapitalAdvisoryGRP.com. Jeff Zufall and his team at Capital Advisory Group. Call them today, 636-394-5524.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
Sprinkles around this morning under overcast skies. We're going to stay cloudy today, and we'll see some more rain by later this afternoon, but especially this evening. The high temperature today, about 75 degrees, so a cooler day under the clouds. And again, showers and thunderstorms beneficial because we still need the rain this evening and into tonight, but it clears out tomorrow. It's sunny, it's mild tomorrow in the afternoon, and it looks sunny, warm, and dry through the weekend. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart for the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
You know, over the years, Lordo's has become part of the family for many, many St. Louis families. For 80 years, they've been helping St. Louis families with all of the jewelry needs, whether it's the diamond ring, a diamond ring, maybe something for St. Patrick's Day, something for an anniversary, Valentine's Day. Throughout the years and throughout the calendar, it's Lordo's as your go-to. Whether it's men or women, you want to repurpose something or buy something new, Lordo's Diamonds in the heart of Ladue on Clayton Road. You see, it's a family business. The family's been running it for years, and they learned it from their father, who learned it from their father. And so that family jeweler, it's where generations of St. Louisans go. Grandparents have gone there. Your grandkids will go there. Right there in Ladue on Clayton Road across the street from a Norman Rockwell-esque firehouse is Lordo's Diamonds. Go in, make a friend, and make them your family jeweler because you can thank me later. 314-432-8008 or online, lordosdiamonds.com.
I'm Bob Hardcastle. Listen to my Money Talk radio program every Sunday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. on the Big 550, where we discuss your money in an easy-to-understand manner. We have interesting guests, chat about money. We try to help you feel more comfortable with your money by talking about the investment market. Join me. I'm Bob Hardcastle.
Money Talk, Sunday morning at 8 on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, it's Julie Buck for our friends at Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution, and they've been in St. Louis for over 20 years with 2 locations, one at Clayton and Lindbergh, and the other one just west of 270 on Olive. If you've got your own business and you want to have a better banking experience, look no further than Triad Bank. Their mission is to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services to you and your business. For more, go to triadbanking.com.
Electricity is very important because if you don't have electricity, you're sitting in the dark in more ways than one. And when the lights go out for one last time, maybe, just maybe, you want a whole home generator. Well, that's where Michael Baldy comes in because Michael Baldy can do that. He's putting in a whole home generator for a friend of mine on the hill. Whether you live on the hill or a brand new home, at some point you're going to need some electrical help, and that's where Michael Baldy comes in. He's been an electrician since 1996, and he has a full team of electricians who will help you every single step of the way, whether it's a whole home generator, maybe some extra plugs for the Christmas lights, maybe it's something in the basement, something in the attic, maybe the garage, doesn't matter. Whether it's an old Victorian home or a brand new commercial building, indoor or out, Michael Baldy, the electrician, has got to be on your phone. Put him on your speed dial, 314-968-9999, 314-968-9999. You can thank me later. Michael Baldy, BaldyElectric.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Frank and Jill Show. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano, Connor McCarthy, who fortunately is here to catch the many mistakes that come out of my mouth on a given day, including the fact that I said Halloween was only 4 weeks away. It is definitely 5.5 weeks away, not 4 weeks away. So thank you for catching that.
And it's Black Rabbit, the Jason Bateman movie, which is brand new on Netflix with Jude Law. Black Rabbit on Netflix
is the series. Yeah, that's
8 episodes. I'll watch the 8th tonight.
You're going to watch the 8th tonight.
Yes.
Okay. Sarah Fensky, thanks for letting us get to all of our errors first before we get to the perfection that always is your hot takes behind the headlines. Sarah, of course, executive editor of St. Louis Magazine, editor of the St. Louis Daily Newsletter, and host of the 314 podcast. Always great to have you. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm good.
I do want to ask you, it's gotten quite a bit of buzz in the last 24 hours all over town, and that is, and you're a city resident, what do you think about the idea that we got to start regulating these golf carts? Do you think it's much ado about nothing? You think it's the fun police that are going to take away one of the few things that is a sign of rejuvenation happening in certain neighborhoods? What's your take on this?
Yeah, I kind of think it's the fun police. I mean, I know that people find them very annoying, but I'm like, annoying, does it rise to the level that you need to slap down a bunch of regulations? Like, if somebody's able to get from point A to point B as they tool around the neighborhood, isn't that a good thing? To me, that's a little bit of like vitality in our neighborhoods. I'm pro golf cart.
Yeah, I am too. I'm also like, maybe let's stop people from driving 70 miles an hour on roads like Gravois or being completely stoned in their cars reeking of marijuana while you're driving down the road. I think there's bigger fish to fry, but that's just me.
Yeah, not just you. I'm with you.
All right, give us the Cliff Notes version of this campaign, I Am St. Louis, which is a $36 million initiative.
Yeah, so the Missouri History Museum rolled out its fundraising campaign earlier this year, and that's, they wanted to raise $36 million for their programs. But as part of this, the CEO of the History Museum has been going around giving this speech that's focused on St. Louis history, and it is just getting this overwhelming response to the point that, people kept asking him, can you get us a copy of this speech that we could show people? Could you put this on video? Could you, make this more widely shared to instill civic pride? And so the History Museum is saying, yeah, we're going to do all those things. It kind of like bubbled up from the grassroots where they had originally meant it to be just their speech. And now they're saying, we're turning it over to all of you. So they will now give this speech if you want to book them to come talk to like new employees or get everybody on board for what's happening in St. Louis. If you want to have a pop-up exhibit in your office or your lobby, you can book them to bring you that. And then also they're trying to get this social media campaign going where you're going to see people telling their St. Louis story. I am St. Louis. So it's kind of this cool thing. I think for a while what we've been missing is something that sort of brings us together and tells the St. Louis story in a way that isn't just depressing. And Jody Sowell, the CEO of the History Museum, does a great job with that. I love that he's kind of opening this up to the masses.
St. Louis County has dropped its efforts to regulate intoxicating cannabis. Were you surprised by this at all?
No, I wasn't. Everybody who has tried to take this on has met with extreme headwinds. And part of why they've met with such headwinds is it's very difficult legally to parse out the difference between something like these CBD kratom shops that you see everywhere. This is this homegrown company that acts very responsibly, from what I can tell, in selling these products. And then these sort of convenience stores that are like, yeah, we're going to basically sell something that is almost akin to marijuana, potentially even more dangerous, and just sell it to any kid who comes through here. And so you have the legal part of this industry rising up to say, hey, no, the way there's this loophole in this law that allows us to exist, this is actually a good thing. Don't shut us down. At the same time that there are all these bad actors taking advantage of the loophole in the law. So I think the people who are operating well have said to St. Louis County, we can't have a patchwork of regulations where you see different laws in different municipalities, different counties. Let the state handle this. Well, the state has not been able to figure out how to craft something that makes sense either. So we're kind of right back to the drawing board.
So tell us about the death of a St. Louis-born Tiger trainer making international news.
Yeah, this is something I believe is an exclusive to the St. Louis Daily Newsletter this morning. Nobody else seems to have connected that this man who was killed in this very high-profile incident in Oklahoma, mauled to death by a tiger that he'd been the trainer of, this is a St. Louis guy. He grew up here. He went to Rockwood Summit High School. His dad was himself some sort of zookeeper, I believe, who worked with tigers. This part we haven't been able to fully confirm, but we are told that he worked at either Grant's Farm or the St. Louis Zoo. We know he worked with the elephants who preceded Jet, the baby that's now at the St. Louis Zoo. So this family has deep ties within the animal community, and just this terrible situation where this man, Ryan Easley, his kids and his wife were watching as this tiger mauled him to death inside the cage that they were in together.
Yeah, I know. That
a very, very grim incident. PETA has now come out swinging. They're kind of blaming this guy for his own death. And Ryan Kroll, my colleague, was able to talk to Jessica Hentoff, who works with Circus Harmony. She said, this guy is one of the responsible guys. He was great with these tigers. So kind of hard to say what exactly has happened now. I imagine there's going to be a lot of investigation.
By state officially abandoning the Green Line plans. I guess not a big shocker there. The mayor was making no promises about this almost from day one when she stepped into office.
Yeah, Kara Spencer has been a critic of just how expensive this line would have been, and the fact that, in the words of one of its other critics, that it kind of went from nowhere to nowhere. It didn't really seem to make a lot of sense. So we had reported earlier this year that she had told Bi-State, don't spend any more money on this plan. You're kind of throwing good money after bad at this point. Let's see what happens on the federal level. Well, now it's clear, I think, even to Bi-State on the federal level, Donald Trump is not going to give the city a bunch of money to connect the north side to the south side. So they're finally and officially abandoning this plan. Now, where this gets interesting is there has been a lot of tax revenue that has been collected in order to eventually build this thing, and it's been collected with language that said you can basically only use it for light rail that runs north-south. So what happens to that pot of money next? That's going to be a big question that I'm sure a lot of lawyers are going to get involved in trying to figure out.
So looking at your reportage with the Chris Zimmerman quote yesterday, you believe it was kind of a thinly veiled shot at the Cardinals. And here's the quote. We have this moment here where people are dying for some success. Elaborate.
Well, I was at the Blues Media Luncheon. They're such a great organization. They put on a good show telling you what's coming up in the course of the season. He said that, and then he said immediately following, he said they are dying to get back to hockey. And every single person at my table, we looked at each other and we're like, yeah, that's about the Cardinals, because the sports fans in town are so sick of this baseball season. We're dying to get back to hockey. Frank, do you think I read that wrong?
No, I think you're right. In fact, I've said it 10 times on TV. Boy, we desperately need the Blues after the season the Cardinals and City SC has had. But it's another thing when it's coming from the executive of a rival sports organization. But I think you're right.
He certainly didn't say it in a mean-spirited way.
No, not at all.
He did not mention the Cardinals, and I don't mean to imply that he did. But I think everybody in the room immediately thought, oh, yeah, he's talking about turning the page from this awful baseball season.
Alex Oliver, guest of this show in the past, doing a lot of good things, many people think, downtown. He has dreams of a food hall happening downtown. And so tell us a little more about that. I guess my only hesitation is it far enough away from the Foundry that we can have sort of two competing food halls that close to each other? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we can pull this off. I think Wash Ave is far enough away. When I think about hanging out on Washington Avenue, to me, that's a separate thought than I thought of should I go down to City Foundry. I think there are a lot of people who come into town for things like conventions, baseball games, hockey games. They're like, well, where should I go to eat? That's kind of a separate ecosystem maybe than going to Midtown. This isn't going to be as big as City Foundry that has, I think, several dozen vendors. He's talking about 8 food vendors and a couple different bars. You guys probably remember that old Copia restaurant that was downtown. It's a huge space. This seems like a smart use for it versus trying to have one giant restaurant in there.
Yes, I actually loved that restaurant. It's one of the first places I remember. Do you remember it, Frank? And it had an indoor Copia, the wine bar and restaurant, and it had kind of an indoor courtyard, and it was a cool place to go.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it had a fire, and it was drawing people downtown, and it did really well, and they just couldn't come back from, I think, a series of bad luck for sure. So it'll be nice to see that space redeveloped again for sure, especially on that particular.
Yeah, that's now under construction. He has not yet named who the vendors are going to be. I'm sure he's trying to ink that, but he is going ahead and building it, and maybe if you build it, they will come.
And you guys have a fun new interview on the 314 podcast. I've just gotten to listen to a little bit of it because Powell Hall, so exciting. Were you impressed when you got to see the inside of it?
You know what? I haven't seen the inside of it yet.
Oh.
But I am going on Saturday when it is the symphony's official return to Powell Hall. I will be there enjoying it just like everybody else. I can't wait to check out how it looks with these renovations.
Sarah Fensky, as always, great to have you. We'll look forward to having you next week as well. Texter, one of the best parts of the show every week. So thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to remind you guys, Miller Furniture, it's not just a great store. They also have almost 4 generations, more than 4 generations now, of expertise. And that includes a sales staff that isn't just there to tick off how many pieces of furniture they sell. They're trained to be able to help you be a co-designer of your house. So if you're one of those people that's like, hey, that is not my skill set. I've come home with the furniture set that was on super stale that I saw in my flyer in the newspaper. And gosh, I got in trouble because there were way too many pieces of furniture in the room and we all tripped around it for many years. No worries. All you have to do is bring in some measurements. There's all kinds of software that's out there that can help people lay out the rooms. They can help you match decor items to what's already existing in your home so that it blends in, or help make suggestions on other things. Or maybe you're somebody who has a designer. There's no place better than Miller Furniture if you have a designer. They will store furniture for you while remodeling is happening so that then it can be delivered once your renovation is complete. So many different ways they work with you in ways their competitors just don't. 4 generations, family-owned business with some of the top quality, all-American made furniture. Definitely visit one of their 4 locations today. Fairview Heights, Flagship in Belleville, Lake St. Louis at the Meadows, and Ellisville off Manchester Road. That's Miller Furniture, Muller.
How do you separate estate planning from elder law? You don't, because they're so intertwined. Let's face it, we're all getting older, and you need to make these decisions today, whether it's for your parents, for yourself, or for future generations. Rudy Beck, Jay Lennox, and Carolyn Stolzer have been navigating these important decisions for more than 50 years. Beck, Lennox, Stolzer, Estate Planning, and Elder Law. Call them, 636-946-7899 or beckelderlaw.com. You can thank me later.
You can pretty much find a job anywhere, but finding a lifelong career can be much more difficult. You like working with your hands? Working in different environments? Having options for different kinds of work within your career? Then the Construction Craft Laborers Union of Missouri may be for you. Don't just settle for a job. Build a career. Build a future. Build a legacy. Go to buildunion.com for more information. That's buildunion.com.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Hey, thanks, Farmer Dave. This is our favorite motoring season. Great top-down weather or getting the bike out. The temps are perfect. Of course, we can fix you up with one if you're in need. Attractive financing options available with no payments until 2026. Keep that in mind. Now, if you have one and don't need it, we can help there too. We're always looking for super clean, low-mile, pristine Corvettes, Muscle cars, classic cars, luxury cars, you name it. Motorcycles too, especially Ducatis and Harleys. We'll even buy entire collections. Hop on our site, submit what you've got, and we'll get you an offer. Easy as that.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of Master Cars, Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit MasterCarsInc.com to get more details. That's MasterCarsInc.com.
Congratulations to John Beal Roofing. Want to give them a shout out. They've been a sponsor of the show through thick and through thin for coming up on 20 years, and their message has remained the same all these 20 years. Make sure you call someone local. With all the storms that have been in the area over the last couple of months, it's been busy, and a lot of out-of-towners are coming in. They sure are nice, but you know what? They'll take half your money, and you never see them again. Somebody from the insurance industry told me, make sure you call local. I told them I was well-schooled. John Beal Roofing will guarantee you the best price. They'll work with your insurance company and make sure you get the claim you deserve to fix it and fix it right. Roofing, siding, gutters, all storm damage, John Beal Roofing will take care of it. Keep it local and keep it John Beal. Keep it in the family for 20-plus years. John Beal Roofing, 1-800-NEW-ROOF or johnbealroofing.com. Do you know why right now is the absolute best time to book your new patio or deck with my friends at Outdoor Living? Aside from being the best in town, these guys are really smart. They pay attention to market conditions, and they've stocked up on patio and deck supplies, including steel, all before these tariffs kicked in. So while their competitors' pricing has gone through the roof, prices have never been better at Outdoor Living. Now is the best time to call and book your summer job. Not to mention, these same competitors have sold out to large conglomerates and hedge funds. Pat Leahy and his team remain locally owned and operated, providing the best pricing and the best service in town. So, looking for a new deck or a new fence or anything outdoor? Outdoor Living, 314-966-DECK. That's 314-966-DECK. Or check them out online, Outdoor Living Inc., or check out their great showroom, Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood, OutdoorLivingInc.com.
Stay connected with the Big 550 KTRS, streaming 24/7 online at KTRS.com or on the KTRS app. Powered by JBL Financial. Stream Straight Talk on Retirement every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Hey, you're dancing over there. I like it. People,
What a great
worth
song.
tuning in on the Frank and Jill Show YouTube channel or on Facebook to see Frank dance there.
We're going to have a groovy person in here very shortly, Tark Khan. So, Jill, this weekend is the Ryder Cup, and I want to see if you can take a stab at this. So, there's going to be about 50,000 people in New York as the greatest golfers in the world go head-to-head. And let's just say, Jill, you wanted to go, and you wanted to get an Airbnb for the week, and it's 6 miles from the course, a 3-bedroom Airbnb for the week. Actually, like 4 days. No, actually for the week. All right. What do you?
So
think
is that
it would-
7 days?
Yeah, or 6.
Okay,
What do you
6
think
days.
that would cost? Just a modest little
$10,000.
3-bedroom. Okay. All right.
Are you trying to price this out, Frank? Or are you trying to?
I'm not going to
trying to go.
I'm not going to go, but I've been curious because I do think about this with the BMW Championship. Our house is not that far away from Bellerive. Monique, we're getting the heck out of here.
Yeah, I've thought about that before with Mardi Gras and Soulard too. I just get a little nervous about who might stay at
you're
our
right.
house. But the Airbnb prices go up so high, you start to think, gosh, that would pay for my own vacation.
Yeah. Mr. Scheffler, I'd like to show you my hot tub here in the back. And if you'd like to chip, I have a little area. Okay, so
Exactly.
anyway, it's 6 miles from the course, and it's for $34,000. Can you imagine that? Somebody say, let's go watch the Ryder Cup. Yeah, we can rent a place. Yeah, here's 34 grand.
Well, you're dividing it by 3. You take 3 friends, each get your own bedroom,
Yeah.
and you're only paying $10,000 for 6 nights. So
That's a positive way of looking at it.
Yeah. And also, I mean, a lot of the people that are attracted to that level of golf probably have a lot more disposable income than I do.
How about this? The cheapest ticket for Friday's action in the secondary market is now $1,000. Let's go to the Ryder Cup. It'll cost you $1,000.
Yeah, I know very, very little about the Ryder Cup. I know that Zach Johnson captained the team in 2023, and I think it was in maybe Italy then. So does it move around to
to United States and or in Europe?
So do we already know like the next 10 years where it's going to be?
Yeah, or I don't know if 10 years, but we probably know the next 2 or 3. Yeah.
So do people kind of pick like, oh, this is a dream. I've always wanted to go here, so I'm going to go. Well, the Ryder Cup is happening, so I can see it. Or do they follow the Ryder Cup to the different cities because they love the golf so much?
More the latter.
Okay.
Yeah, and this Bethpage Black, it will be a golfing environment, but it'll be really raucous. It'll be a bunch of New Yorkers just drinking and, all this patriotism. And, some golf purists don't like it because there's a lot of yelling going on and a lot of displays of emotion you normally don't get at kind of a modest, golf setting.
Is it like the Masters where like corporations will send like big clients and stuff like that too?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Why spend $34,000 just to go see the Ryder Cup?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather go see like an actual major? Yeah, this is the Ryder Cup, which it just doesn't matter as much as the actual big tournaments. I'm sorry.
Like the Masters, you mean?
Like the Masters or the U.S. Open or the the British Open
Or the Stifel Charity Classic.
or this, of course, the Stifel Charity Classic. But it's just it's a deal. It's people go, they like it, but you're spending that much money and it's not even something that goes on your resume if you are part of the team that wins. Really,
I think you bring up some great points, but I will say this: there is a display of emotion because of the patriotism that you don't get in a lot of majors.
Okay.
I mean, the intensity for this will be bigger than, say, the PGA Championship. Maybe not the Masters, but it's high stakes. You got superstars on each side, Rory against, Scotty. It's really cool.
Is it a little like people go golf in Scotland even though the course isn't the greatest course to golf because you just want the experience?
Which I haven't done yet. Monique can go to Croatia, but I have to go to Creve Coeur Golf Course.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a short break. We're going to have a really fun movie review coming up with our good friend Tarkan.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When your reputation's on the line, you don't leave anything to chance, especially your primer. Painters trust Kills primers for a smooth start, strong adhesion, and serious stain-blocking power. And now, the full Kills lineup is available exclusively at the Home Depot. Need it fast? Get same-day or next-day delivery, or order online and pick up in-store. Kills primers. Pro results, faster. The Home Depot. If you're a pro, you know.
Mizzou football.
It's a rushing touchdown, and Missouri extends the lead.
KTRS AM, FM 1061, K291CW St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Dallas, 2 people are dead after a shooting at an ICE holding facility. Authorities say that includes the shooter, also dead, but did not identify the suspect. Dallas Police Chief Daniel Camo.
We had 4 individuals that were shot, 2 of them deceased, including the shooter.
DPD was able to locate the shooter, who was deceased.
Federal authorities say no law enforcement staff were injured, but called it a targeted attack. ABC's Aaron Katursky has more on the shooting.
The authorities still would not say whether they were detainees, but they did say that no law enforcement officers were hurt in this, and multiple law enforcement sources have told us that it was detainees that were shot in Dallas today.
The FBI says preliminary evidence suggests messages found on bullets appear to be anti-ICE in nature. A day after President Trump addressed members of the UN General Assembly and criticized Russia's continued attacks on Ukraine and a breach of NATO member airspace, Ukraine's leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, delivered remarks today urging world leaders to hold Russia accountable by issuing more sanctions and sending more defense weapons to Ukraine.
As Russia's war against my country goes on, people are still dying every week. Yet there is no ceasefire because Russia refuses.
Zelensky also says Russia will not stop at Ukraine's borders. Jimmy Kimmel Live back on the air last night after Disney suspended the show over Kimmel's comments following the shooting death of conservative influencer Charlie Cook. ABC's Trevor Ault has more.
Jimmy Kimmel returned with a 17-minute monologue addressing this controversy himself for the very first time, saying he never meant to make light of Charlie Kirk's death and even thanking some Republicans while still making some jokes at the president's expense.
Nexstar and Sinclair, media groups that own dozens of local ABC affiliates, did not broadcast the show. You're listening to ABC News.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-859-3220 or biglou.com.
This is KTRS News. I'm Sobe Bay. An investigation is underway after a woman was murdered in North County. Police say officers were called to a home along the 1200 block of Bliss and Bellefonte Neighbors last night, where the victim was suffering from stab wounds. She was taken to an area hospital where she later died. A person of interest was taken into custody. A hearing is scheduled this morning for embattled St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery. He was taking legal action against the city over an ordinance defining his responsibilities. Montgomery filed a petition for a temporary restraining order to block the ordinance from taking effect and challenging its legality. One of the requirements of the ordinance states that the sheriff needs to submit written explanations for necessary expenses to the city comptroller and provide monthly reports on spending and contracts to the Board of Aldermen's Public Safety and Budget Committees. The clock is ticking away for St. Louis County seniors to apply for the Senior County Tax Freeze. KTRS's Jill Enders has the story.
Seniors have until September 30th to submit their applications. Now, postcards were sent to thousands of homeowners with incomplete applications. Nearly 12,000 of those applications remain incomplete. Next week, additional employees will be available at 3 satellite offices. Those are at the North County Government Center in St. Anne, West County Government Center in Chesterfield, and the South County Government Center on Lemay Ferry Road. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
The city of St. Louis is reminding residents that they can now report non-emergency issues to the city's Citizen Service Bureau by dialing 933. Issues that can be reported include street potholes, concerns about trees, trash and debris issues, and graffiti. A former St. Louis TV anchor is featured in the new season of the hit reality show Survivor. More from KTRS's Steve Potter.
The 49th season of Survivor kicks off tonight, and one of the cast members is Savannah Louie. She was a familiar face on KSDK for several years as a news anchor. Yesterday on The Carney Show, she talked about competing for the $1 million grand prize and that being on the show has been a dream of hers for years.
I applied for my very first time when I was 17 years old.
I applied for the second time, actually, when I was living in St. Louis about 5 years ago. And then this past winter was my third time applying. And I mean, honestly, in a weird way, I know this might sound dramatic, but it feels like my life has kind of been preparing me in a way to get out there and to play the game.
The 49th season of Survivor begins tonight at 7 o'clock on CBS. Steve Potter, KTRS News.
A new dining experience in town is in this KTRS Business Minute, brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. A new dining experience is coming to St. Louis. The Washington Avenue Food Hall is slated to open in downtown during the second quarter of next year. It will include 8 different food stalls and 2 bars along the 1100 block of Washington Avenue. Developer Alex Oliver called the food hall the next step in his strategy of reinvesting in the historic loft buildings on Washington. And now let's take a look at the markets, brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune in to Straight Talk on Retirement Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 a.m. On Wall Street right now, the Dow Jones is down 154 points to 46,137. S&P 500 is down 29 points to 6,627. The Nasdaq is down 144 points to 22,429. KTRS Sports. The SEC unveiled matchups for the next 4 football seasons with their new 9-game schedule. Mizzou will have 5 home games next year, hosting Florida, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas A&M. Mizzou's 4 road opponents will be Arkansas, Georgia, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss. The Cardinals rallied from 8-3 down to beat the Giants 9-8 last night. Brendan Donovan had 4 doubles, while Ivan Herrera homered for the 3rd straight game. KTRS weather today: scattered storms throughout the day, high of 73. Tonight, more rain expected during the evening, with clearing out after midnight. Overnight low of 57. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 77. Right now, we have 70 degrees at 11:07. I'm Sobe Bay, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
That's so good. Tara Khan is here. It's our weekly special segment. Made for $550,000. It made $60 million overall. It grossed, I think it's in the $480 million number, all of the 12 slasher films. Jill's quote on the film I thought was kind of interesting. She says, "I didn't like it, but the sex was kind of interesting."
Oh, Frank.
He's so good at quoting exactly what I say and mean. I'm so grateful.
It was kind of
for his
revealing,
accuracy.
by the way. I mean, that was pretty explicit with Kevin Bacon and his girlfriend.
Oh, sure, yeah. And think back, 1980 when this film came out, 45 years ago, this kind of film was actually rather unique. It was sort of inspired by the success of Halloween, which had come out 2 years earlier. And I think that, the filmmakers realized there's an audience for this kind of film. And they tried it out, a low-budget film, but a classic, one by one, seeing people get killed, and sometimes, in pretty, gratuitous, manners. And it turned out to be a surprise, commercial success. Critics, of course, trashed it. But audiences loved it, and it spawned now a total of, I think, 12 different movies, including a 2009 reboot. So I think at the time, nobody ever would have thought that 45 years later, people would still be discussing this movie, but it became a classic, cult classic, and one which is still viewed as, one of the classic great horror movies of all time.
Yeah, I guess, and that's what I've been thinking about a lot. Well, first of all, I think I'm the only human being that had never seen it before. I was Monday years old when I saw Friday the 13th for the first time. And so that's what's been interesting for me is just so many people. It was just part of a kind of a rite of passage, I think, in teenage years. Would you say that everybody has to watch these movies and there's a part of it? And so do you think that's nobody seemed to care about the quality. It's just the being scared, being grossed out, and to Frank's point, the fact that there's sex in there as well.
Oh, exactly. It's funny, when the first one came out in 1980, and I remember seeing the trailers, back in the theaters that year and thinking, what is this? I was just a kid, and I didn't actually see the first one until a few years later. But then, of course, the sequel started to come out. The part 2 in 1981 and part 3, I think, in 82. And every time they came out, there was this huge rush for teenagers and adults, to get to the theater to see these movies because they love them. And I think people who grew up in the 80s, went to the movies, saw these, on a Friday night, with a large audience, and were scared. And it was really a cultural experience. And anyone who grew up in that period, I think, can't forget the Friday the 13th franchise.
The star of the movie has to be Betsy Palmer, who played Mrs. Voorhees. She took the deal. She was paid $1,000 a day for 10 straight days. And she looks like a cross between Edith Bunker, Hazel Booth, and Alice from the Brady Bunch. And yet she's this psycho freaking killer. She's unbelievable. I got to tell you something. The fighting... I never thought I'd watch this movie and laugh, but it was so fun. It had kind of a WWE quality. If you look back on it, the histrionics, the fake punches, the facial expressions, the squealing, the yelling. It is really humorous in a way.
High camp, no question. And of course, the fascinating thing is, I think for anyone who watched at the time, they assume that the killer is, some man who's big and, ugly and whatnot. And because you never see the killer throughout the film. And so at the end, when it's revealed that it's this middle-aged woman, I think it must have been a total shock to audiences. But it was brilliant. A classic, plot twist, surprise ending, if you will.
Yeah.
And Betsy Palmer, only on screen about 10 minutes. She actually had top billing, and she was terrific. She was actually nominated for a Golden Razzie Award, which honors, the worst performances of the year. She was nominated for Worst Supporting Actress.
Wait a minute, there's a thing called the Golden
Razzies. That's right. It's the opposite, of the Oscars, and she was a contender. I don't think she received it, but I think that was very unfair because she was brilliant brutal in the film, and it was over the top. It was camp, but it was perfect. I think her delivery was sensational.
Did you ever hear real quick her initial reaction when she looked at the script?
Oh yes,
she said, "What a piece of blank!"
Exactly.
Nobody's going to watch this.
Exactly. Who would have known? And I think at the time, yes, exactly. Nobody would have expected the film would be this kind of success and would generate, such a passion from audiences and, just be, enjoyed on this big screen the way it was. But it really was a phenomenon.
If you're just joining us, Tariq Khan, of course, Academy Award expert. He has spent time in both New York and California working for various national news outlets covering the movies. And we're lucky enough to have him in St. Louis because his current career at KSDK has brought him here. And Tariq, I guess one of the things I thought was interesting is you said a lot of teenagers in the 80s went to see this movies, and that was back, when we went to movies and even R-rated movies without our parents.
Exactly.
Do you think it's upped the ante? Because if you think of some of the popular teenage movies today, things like The Hunger Games or the Harry Potters, a lot of parents go with their kids, and that sort of, I think, makes the bar a little higher for movie production. Or you think they just have gotten better over time?
Definitely. The thing is that at the time, I think Friday the 13th, it was shocking because people really hadn't seen this kind of thing before. Where seeing people get hit, by axes, and of course, yes, an arrow going through somebody's, Kevin Bacon's, throat. It was at the time, I think, something that people really hadn't seen before, and now we're sort of used to seeing these kinds of things. Which happen, in movies like this, and of course, yes, with films like The Hunger Games and even other horror franchises like The Conjuring, if you will. There is now, I think a desire to make these kinds of films and try to make them more elaborate and have, thicker plot and, better acting and writing and production values and whatnot. But it all goes back to really just the basic principle of getting people, just to watch a movie and just be scared and to jump out of their seat. And Friday the 13th did just that.
It's amazing the similarities between this and Halloween. Halloween also made 12 films, and they made $700 million. And according to this stat, actually, Friday the 13th made $91 million. Why do you think Friday the 13th made more?
Really, I think it it followed up on the success of Halloween, and actually I think that them going with Friday the 13th, the villain being Jason, who later on takes on the hockey mask, it almost became comical in a sense. And I remember actually back in high school, people actually dress up like Jason Voorhees, for Halloween and whatnot. And it was just that Jason became, I think, a cultural icon. The way that Michael Myers was scary. Michael Myers was the villain in Halloween, but Jason Voorhees, I think he was just really like a cult, serial killer, and one that people had a lot of fun with. And I think that's why Friday the 13th kind of took off the way it did.
And you talked earlier about that now iconic role of Mrs. Pamela Voorhees, the murderer, that they really tried to get Shelley Winters to do originally, because they were like, we actually need at least one big name. She said, no thanks, but no thanks. And I thought it was funny that Kevin Bacon was a nobody. Right. He's the biggest, most recognizable
was he
name.
17? He looked really young.
Yeah, I'd have to look that up, how old he was in 1980. But the biggest name at the time was Harry Crosby, son of then recently deceased legendary singer Bing Crosby. And Harry played Bill.
Yes.
So that was like the name in the entire cast.
Yeah, I think they realized they didn't need big names to sell this movie. It was really all about the horror. And in a way, I think actually having unknowns made it more effective, because you were like watching these people who seemed like strangers and you didn't know what was going to happen to them. If they had big stars in the film, I think people in a sense would have felt a little more comfort, whatnot. But having these unknown faces on the screen and watching them, basically, go, die one by one, I think actually made it more compelling. So
he was 22, by the way.
22. Okay. So after this, this is 1980. When does The Exorcist and Omen come into play? What years are those?
Oh, The Exorcist actually came out in 73, right?
Okay.
And The Omen was 76. So they actually came out earlier, but they weren't quite like this, where it was a slasher film. I mean, where somebody's just going one by one killing people. I mean, that was really the premise of, I think, Halloween and Friday the 13th. So I think, of course, those films, I think, maybe sort of set the lay the groundwork for films like this. But Friday the 13th and Halloween were films that were very unique at the time.
And you would agree, I know they're different kind of films, but The Exorcist, the original Exorcist, and the original Omen were like great films with brilliant acting.
Oh, yeah, no question. I mean, The Exorcist was nominated for 10 Academy Awards and won 2. And yes, I mean, was really, critically praised at the time. So Friday the 13th, again, was just trashed by critics. Gene Siskel, he savaged the film.
What did he say?
He told people there was absolutely no reason to go see this movie. He gave away the surprise ending in order to keep people away. But actually, that brought more attention to it. I mean, him actually going after it, I think made people more curious to see it. So it kind of backfired.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, too, that the camp that it's an old Boy Scout camp that it was filmed at in New Jersey, still in existence today as a camp. I mean, people still go there every single summer.
I'd be scared myself, after seeing Friday the 13th.
All right, so you went to a current movie that you liked, and it's a really interesting plot.
Oh, yeah, it's
true story.
A sports drama. That's right, called The Senior, starring Michael Chiklis. It's about a 59-year-old man who had been kicked out of high school his senior year. He was a football player, and he goes back to high school at the age of 59 and joins the football team and leads them to, you'll find out when you watch it. But it's a great, true story, uplifting. Michael Chiklis does a great job. And, it's a real crowd pleaser. The audience I saw it with, they loved it. They clapped at the end. So The Senior in theaters now, I'd say worth checking out.
So for our listeners who love this twice-a-month segment, Back to the Feature, and like to watch along with us, so for 2 weeks, in 2 weeks when you come back, what should folks watch? What will we be talking about?
Okay, well, 40 years ago this year, a little film called St. Elmo's Fire was released and was a commercial success, a cast of great stars. I mean, Demi Moore and Rob Lowe and Ali Sheedy, Emilio Estevez. So St. Elmo's Fire, I think another film which people in the 80s really grew up with. We'll talk about that, a great fall movie, so should be a good time.
What about the romances that came from St. Elmo's Fire in real life? Did anybody, did Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, anybody get together?
Good question. I'll need to research that because I don't know offhand if anyone.
I'm asking for Jill because it's going to come down to sex.
Yeah, that's me. Top of mind. I appreciate you always trying to get those in that.
Glad I could help.
Fill in the gaps for me. I got to ask you, Connor, before we let Tarek go. Had you seen this movie as a teenager? Is it still something that teens watch?
I didn't see it as a teenager, but I saw it a while back, I think in college, and very low production values is very noticeable. I did like, however, I saw this one after I had seen other newer ones, some of the remakes. I'm forgetting which one exactly, but I did like how this one is, not to give the twist away, but it's actually just people doing the killing. You know, in later ones he's actually like a ghost haunting the camp. It's a little different, and I like that.
Yeah, good thought on that as well, per usual. Thanks a lot, Connor. Thanks a lot, Tarek, as well, for being with us. Got lots more coming up in the show right back after this.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkas, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella Windows specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a Banner Day.
My friends at Neighbors Credit Union are rolling out a new account. The new Debit All Day account is designed for the way you pay today. Debit All Day is a checkless checking account featuring a Neighbors Visa debit card, the convenience of online and mobile banking, and access to your direct deposits up to 2 days early. If you're looking for a no-fuss account to make managing your money simple, safe from overdrafts, and free of fees, Debit All Day is for you. Open your Neighbors Credit Union Debit All Day account online today at neighborscu.org.
Ronald Reagan once famously said, "Government is not the solution, government is the problem." When it comes to economic growth, government can be a roadblock. With red tape, regulations, and subsidies, government stifles entrepreneurship and also props up businesses that deserve to go under. Unlike government, free markets encourage risk-taking, freedom to succeed or fail. Governments shouldn't be picking winners and losers, the market should. Free markets benefit the business owner and the customer by encouraging competition. Free Market enabled a young man named J.C. Hall selling picture postcards in Kansas City to turn his idea into Hallmark cards. In St. Louis, the free market made it possible for Adolphus Busch to turn his father-in-law's local beer into the world's largest brewery. A free market also means you get to send your kids to the school of your choice. Learn more about free markets at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
You're finally ready to renovate your home. Riverbend Kitchen and More specializes in kitchens and baths, but also bars, bookcases, cabinetry, countertops, and more. Proud supplier of Waypoint Living Spaces cabinets, as well as other quality cabinet lines. They work with homeowners, contractors, and developers. Call before the end of September and mention KTRS to receive a free stainless steel sink with the purchase of a countertop. Financing available. Located in Soulard, Alton, and Mascoutah. Call 314-314-7411. Online at riverbendkm.com.
Hey, the Bommarito Automotive Group is Missouri's #1 automotive group. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online, see their entire inventory at bommarito.com.
Want a song?
Around my mind like the song on the radio.
Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Welcome back, everybody. Second hour of the Frank and Jill Show. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano, Connor McCarthy. Just heard from Tarek Khan. Always a very fun segment. He's such a low-key guy, but he has forgotten more than and he's got more knowledge in his little pinky. I'm going to mix metaphors here.
Yeah.
Than I'll never know about anything related to movies. He loves it, and he just holds on to all that knowledge. He's very fun.
You could ask him, okay, who won the Oscar in 1950 for Best Supporting Actor. He would know that. And he would know all the films that were nominated that year. We're talking 1950. It's amazing.
He has seen every Oscar-nominated movie since that ever was, and he goes and sees movies regularly as well. And we have to say this: we were just talking about what a high-stress job the assignment editors are at the TV stations, and he's just such a calm, nice guy. He even puts up with some of your shenanigans. You're willing to admit. Is that true?
Yes, but he, as I said to you guys during the break, he's the only sign editor. When he can't get your camera, he feels so bad about it. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't get this. He is just one of the great human beings.
And you, of course, take advantage of that and try to squeeze a little blood out of the turnip.
I love him like a brother, just not one of my own.
Okay, song of the day today, going back to a group. It's one of those ones that feels like it wasn't that long ago, but believe it or not, September 24th, 1991 is when the grunge music scene went national thanks to this group, Nirvana. For some reason, that, of course, is Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit from September 24th, 1991. For some reason, September 24th, according to music historians, has had a lot of some of the biggest selling albums of all time: Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, A Tribe Called Quest, The Low End Theory. It's been a banner day for modern music.
They are known for grunge music, and that is aptly named.
Not your fave?
Oh my gosh, I just can't picture. Now I'm not judging anybody. It's not my cup of tea.
Not
God
even that
bless you if you
song.
love it.
Not even that song.
No.
Oh, I do like
Never.
that song actually, for sure. So, and you didn't like anything that Nirvana sang or that crew. Do you remember? I mean, I don't. You had. I think probably. What year was Alex born?
Alex was 1992.
Okay, so you were around the time, like you're in that young parent mode. If you were in high school, college, kind of before you got into real adulting, like the impact that it had on things like fashion, like everybody all of a sudden was walking around wearing plaid shirts. Like on the weekends, it was like that there was just this, it just kind of, it really sort of changed the nature of the way out of the 80s into those early 90s. They said, we're going to do something different here. So I think it was there. Where do you stand on Nirvana as a rock force?
Do you play that on the oldies station now?
Exactly. Yes,
almost 35 years.
To your point, yeah. I mean,
Connor's an ageist.
I'm not an ageist. I like it. Some grunge is fine. Some of it's not. Some of it gets a little too grungy for me, I'll say. But it's good.
Sebastian Maniscalco, we can all agree on, can't we? That he's definitely
Thank goodness.
A
You're saving the
fave
segment.
for sure. And I was thinking about him the other day. You brought him up, and then I just kind of went down the rabbit hole, looking up some of his funniest bits. He's also known a little bit as a fashion icon. I love his bit that he talks about dressing up for the airplane these days. And he goes on to say,
"Oh, that is so good! Great job, Joe."
It is. I have to say, I was traveling on. Those. Do you ever get on one of those really early morning flights at like 5:30 or 6 in the morning? It's kind of brutal. And we were getting on one of those sometime in the last year, and there was this young family, and they had 3 or 4 little kids, and I'm guessing all under the age of 5, and they were all still in their pajamas. And this grandma, who was kind of sitting near them, who wasn't related to them, said to the mom, she goes, did you leave them all in their pajamas because you're under the delusion that they'll just get on the plane and go right back to sleep? And the mom said, well, when you put it that way, and she said, well, I'm here to tell you that's usually not what happens with these guys. She was like, well, we were trying to just get them out the door with the least amount of disruption and hoping that they would maybe go back to sleep.
How old were they?
I mean, under 5.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. What I think is kind of an issue is when you see this 16 and 17-year-olds in their pajama bottoms, going on the.
Well, what level of dress should be required to get on a plane?
Just
do we need
pair
the suit and tie and the hat
just
and
a pair of
the
pants. Just a pair of pants.
Like in the old days, you'd wear your full suit. I mean,
that's uncomfortable too.
I'm curious. Do you think should comfort be what we decide before we get on the plane because you're going to be on there for a long time, or is there some level of decorum?
Would you take issue with sweatpants? Those are pants, but those are they're sweatpants.
Some sweatpants have become super stylish, like the kind that Jill wears all of her Lululemon line. That all of us would like to afford one day, but. I mean, let's face it.
I do not have even one pair of Lululemon sweatpants, but I'm happy if there's a sponsorship availability or if anybody wants to get me with
to
some.
Do live spots?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is mighty nice of you. All right, remember I mentioned something on the St. Elmo's fire and the romances.
Mm-hmm.
So this
what
is
you?
This is so classic Rob Lowe. He was on the Kelly Ripa show, okay, and he says. After joking that a big sex orgy took place behind the scenes of St. Elmo's fire, he told Ripa, Demi and I briefly, I'm not telling tales out of school, we briefly had a thing. This is where it really gets funny. Though Lowe didn't specify the exact timeline of his relationship with Moore, he noted it was before she got engaged to actor Emilio Estevez. Now, here's the quote. Look, anytime you put young 20-something men and women together, hookups are inevitable, he quipped. I don't think that has changed. Mm-hmm. Can't you just picture Rob Lowe saying that?
Yeah.
Hey, attractive woman, attractive man. We may not even like each other, but it's going to happen. I mean, that is so Rob Lowe.
I know. I do find him extremely likable, I have to say.
You're right.
I mean, anytime I listen to him on a podcast, he's a good interviewer on his own, and he's just kind of he's honest about the things that the choices, the downward spiral of drugs and alcohol that he experienced as a super famous, super attractive person in that era. And I have a lot of respect for a lot of things that he's willing to be out there with.
And has anybody aged better? Ever?
I mean, yeah.
Like male or female?
He doesn't, because he doesn't have that look like he's even tried hard. It's just, yes, I would say there's a couple people. What's our favorite Ant-Man, the actor whose name is escaping me?
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, thank you. I think he's one of those people that kind of gets held in time and is aging particularly well.
And I know Rob Lowe's not perfect, but it's one wife, 2 kids. And, he's one of these people, Joe, I don't know how you feel, that even though they're like extremely attractive more than other people, he doesn't like rub it. He kind of knows he is, but he's kind of cool with it, and it comes across as likable.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. It's not false modesty where that gets a little annoying because you're like, if you're that good looking, everybody in the world knows it. We can't pretend that it's like you're, when people say, "Oh, my ugly mug," and we're like, okay. But so I agree with what you're saying. There's just something that's very appealing about that. You guys, you're coming in with some good zingers on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line. After this break, we're gonna listen to what some of your fellow listeners have to say on some of the topics we have talked about today. A topic that I love talking about, of course, is excellent companies who provide excellent customer service and care enough to make it their number one priority. And, Premier, I talked to one of the technicians when he was out working on my air conditioner earlier this summer from Premier Heating and Cooling. And I said, you guys do such a good job with customer service. And he said, I've worked for other companies in the business through the years, and some of them are pretty good at customer service. Some of them are pretty good at treating their employees well. He said, I've never seen a place like Premier Heating and Cooling where they treat their customers so well, they care so much about it, and they treat their employees so well. And I just think that's a really good sign of a quality company when they go the extra mile to make sure that the people working there are well cared for, care about what they're doing, because of course that gets passed on to those of us who are customers. It's that time of year, guys. Call today, 636-916-1122, and set up that appointment to get your clean and check done on your furnace. October's coming. We know that's when the temperatures are going to get colder. PremierHeatingCooling.net.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
Sprinkles around this morning under overcast skies. We're going to stay cloudy today, and we'll see some more rain by later this afternoon, but especially this evening. The high temperature today, about 75 degrees, so a cooler day under the clouds. And again, showers and thunderstorms beneficial because we still need the rain this evening and into tonight, but it clears out tomorrow. It's sunny, it's mild tomorrow in the afternoon, and it looks sunny, warm, and dry through the weekend. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart for the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
Did you know you can include backstoppers in your estate planning? Leaving a legacy gift is a great way to make a lasting impact in our mission. By including a bequest to the backstoppers in your estate planning, your legacy will be to make a difference in the lives of families who have made great sacrifices for our safety. Legacy gifts help send children of fallen heroes to the college of their choice, provide families with health care coverage and all out-of-pocket medical expenses, and so much more. Consider making Backstoppers your legacy today at backstoppers.org.
Are you or a family member needing to sell your home? Then call me, Mike Robinson with Robank Properties. I will buy your home in any condition and always as is. Call me at 314-283-0867. That's 314-283-0867. No contingencies, no inspections, just cold hard cash. I'll save you time and money. So make that call now and let me buy your house. RobankProperties.com. That's ROBANG Properties.com.
Most people think if I name my husband as beneficiary, everything's going to be okay, and that's not necessarily true.
I'm Scott Garcia with Premier Estate and Income Planning.
What am I doing taking care of people after somebody has passed and all the mess that comes with that?
And I'm Jennifer Cermak, Chief Counsel and Estate Planning Attorney of Premier Estate and Income Planning.
No longer is the attorney the gatekeeper to your lives.
Let us show you how to protect your assets, avoid probate, and retire with confidence.
Having an estate plan could be the most important document you could ever have.
The Premier Income and Estate Planning Show, this Saturday at 4 and this Sunday morning at 7 on the Big 550 KTRS.
Tune in Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for Straight Talk and Retirement with Jeff and Aaron Lapidus for an intimate understanding of the retirement needs you may soon be facing.
From planning to planting, growing to harvesting, FS is with you every step of the way. Our team has the latest seed genetics, field-tested hybrids, proven chemistries, plant performance products, and premium fuels and lubricants to help you maximize yield and minimize downtime. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, FS is your trusted business partner. Visit fscooperatives.com to learn how we can support your farming operation from start to finish.
Michael's Baths, operated by Michael Gower and his daughter Melody. If you want a bathroom remodel, Michael's Baths will give you a free quote. Walk-in showers that all look like natural stone, maybe some grab bars, whatever you need. All they use are American-made products, so you're not at the mercy of any tariff increases. Right now, get a free shower door or $500 off a bathroom remodel. Michael's Baths, 636-775-0800, or online at michaelsbaths.com.
The University of Missouri St. Louis is committed to providing top-ranked education. More than 80% of our students receive financial aid. At UMSL, more is what moves us. Find your more and explore your financial aid options at more.umsl.edu.
Gingham's Homestyle Restaurant has been a staple in St. Charles for 35 years. Our comfortable, casual atmosphere offers some of the best comfort food you've ever had. Customers might know our delicious breakfast, but you can have whatever you want, anytime you want, with our full menu 24 hours a day. Nothing warms your heart like Gingham's famous vegetable soup, and we can cater your event, too. If you like home-style food and great friendly service, you'll love Gingham's Restaurant in St. Charles. 636-946-0266 or ginghamsrestaurant.com.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:38, time check, second hour of the Frank and Jill Show. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano, along with Connor McCarthy. We were just talking a little bit in the break because, Frank, had you ever tried the candy corn peanut combo that so many of our texters commented on today?
Have not, but pretty solid. Tasted it just a few minutes ago. Thought it was pretty good.
And you're not a candy corn fan for sure. What do you think about the combo?
Not a candy corn fan. It makes it better because there's peanuts now involved, so kind of get a peanut taste. Do you know what flavor candy corn is? The traditional candy corn.
Is it supposed to be kind of caramely?
It's supposed to have a flavor. Do you know what that flavor is?
I do not.
It's like a vanilla and honey because the honey is involved in some way. So there you go. And then I think marshmallow, I think, is the white part. So
a very tired old marshmallow.
A bad idea is to, when you're buying candy or something sweet, to try to go healthy while you're doing it. It's like the other day I made a huge mistake. I thought, I need some of this chocolate syrup because Reg and I have been having a little ice cream at night. And I said, oh, yeah, this is chocolate syrup, sugarless. It was the worst thing I've ever tasted. It was a terrible decision. I was trying to not add to the calories, but bad idea.
You might as well just buy the real stuff, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Big mistake.
Yeah. Somebody said earlier on the text line that it's the payday candy bar. The combination of candy corn and peanuts is the old payday, which was never one of my top choice candy bars, but it did show up on Halloween every once in a while. Candy corn reminds me, or like those little pumpkins, that are kind of candy corn flavored. Yeah. That reminds me of the kind of stuff that would have been at somebody's. My grandma's had good candy, but some people's grandmas, not the best candy. They'd have like, here's a treat, and they'd give you one of those little blue menthol discs or even a butterscotch disc, and you're like, got anything better? I mean, this is really pretty weak.
How about this? We all grew up in neighborhoods, and we all know the one house in the neighborhood that's going to deliver big time. And when my kids were growing up, the Kachucks, who weren't exactly in our neighborhood, but were traveled fast. So after they'd walk around our neighborhood, we'd take that one little trip in the car to go up to the Kachucks, and they would deliver the big, long candy
like the full
bars.
size, the king size.
Unbelievable. It was the best.
Yeah, so that's always the conundrum, right? Because when we raised the kids in Olivet, and we were close to the Chevy Chase neighborhood, which is famous for having thousands and thousands of Halloween.
Chevy Chase, yeah.
Halloween people, the Halloween kids and families and people out on their lawns. It's very fun and very festive. But because they get so many trick-or-treaters, it's a one piece of candy per bag. And so my kids started learning, when they're getting a little more savvy, like 4th, 5th grade, they're like, yeah, we're not going over there. We might go for a little while, but we're going to these neighborhoods like where we were close by, where people are like, oh, we've only had 5 trick-or-treaters, and they're giving you handfuls of candy, at 7:30 because they want not to have extra. And then we did have our next door neighbor, Nellie Zach, may she rest in peace, one of the sweetest ladies, and she didn't feel comfortable having trick-or-treaters, so she would go buy candy, like multiple full-size candy bars, put them in a little bag, and then we'd go to her back door. So my kids would start out Halloween every year with this like 4 full-size candy bars in a little plastic bag with an orange ribbon. So it ruined them forever.
We had a woman in our neighborhood who was famous, Mrs. Stubbe, for homemaking caramel apples with this great caramel sauce. That was always...
Yeah, remember people would do popcorn balls too when we were kids, and then they stopped doing that because then they were afraid of razor blades that we never. Apparently, I watched on a show that was never actually a case. It was just like a plot line in a book.
Yeah, it was never a thing.
There was never razor blades or needles in popcorn
balls.
There's
never drugs in there either.
No.
I gotta say.
But I'm probably glad my kids aren't getting homemade treats from strangers still. But I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, a couple of texts. Amazed when I see people with poor footwear on a plane. What's going to happen in an emergency? Are they talking about like Zoris or something, or
like maybe sandals or flip flops?
Or maybe I'm thinking more of like somebody who's got a 5-inch heel. Are they going to be able to run from the burning
plane? I feel like
plane?
that kind of goes counter to the dressing down, though. You're normally wearing that kind of heel with pajamas.
It's like there's an emergency. I'm not sure if the shoes. If you have the Reeboks on, you're going to be safe as the plane crashes.
We decided on our last flight when we were coming from last year, about a year ago, when we were coming from Africa to Holland, that a lot of the Dutch people, must be considered okay to take your shoes off on a plane. Because when I was like walking back to go to the bathroom, there were all these very tall Dutch men that had their bare feet like out in the aisle or up on a footrest in front of them that I had to kind of dodge. And I just thought, I don't know. I mean, can't we keep our socks on maybe, or at least our socks on, if not both our socks and shoes on in a plane? Is that asking too much?
No, absolutely, yes. Now, speaking of footwear, members of Team USA left their ties at home. Instead of wearing the classic dress shoe, they opted for white sneakers for the big event at the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black. It was an odd play for the 12-man squad, which is presumed to be a super formal event. You know, they take the big picture and everything. So they're in suits with no ties and the tennis shoes. Where do you stand on that? You see a lot of men going the tennis shoe route with dress clothes.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take?
I think it has more to do with, I mean, if it's a neat and an attractive pair of tennis shoes, I'm not offended by that in any way, shape, or form. And I've never worn men's dress shoes, but I hear that they're very uncomfortable, generally speaking. They're just the old-fashioned.
They are. Once you wear these comfortable shoes, you just don't want to go back to dress shoes unless you absolutely have to do it for a wedding or something
Doesn't
like
that kind of give you the answer, though? Things that are comfortable rarely look good. So I'm gonna actually go against it. Just wear nothing. You don't wear the suit at all if you're going to wear the tennis shoes. But if you're going to wear the suit,
but there's a
then
middle
you need
ground.
to wear
Like
the
there's
dress
a
shoes.
Cole Haan and some other version of dress shoes that have a more comfortable bottom that aren't pure tennis shoes. Yeah, something like that, which is he's got. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it's just a lovely dark blue leather shoe. That's technically a tennis shoe, but it's fancier than that.
No tennis shoes grow up, says one of our texters.
Okay, that's a good view.
Well, if you're wearing the suit, wear the dress shoes.
Okay, when it comes to I hear what you're saying.
Or don't wear the suit.
But I will say, like, I mean, not the this is everybody's case, but John's got to travel for work a lot, so he's walking through airports and long distances in big cities, and so those Cole Haans that have the more comfortable. He doesn't wear tennis shoes, but he wears the more comfortable versions of the dress shoes for
they're
sure.
They're not a sponsor, but I will say this for every male, and I think the female, and maybe you could help me out here, Jill, is Nordstrom's Rack, Brentwood Boulevard, has the best selection of shoes at reasonable prices I've ever been around.
Yeah, it's great. And actually, their Nordstrom Rack online, you can get some really high-end shoes if you look first, if they don't have it in the store. And then they'll deliver it to the store. You can try it on, and it is worth trying. Several of you talking about this idea of grunge, and I think I agree with this 636 caller. It's funny how in the moment you might not care for certain songs or styles of music, but 20, 30, 40 years down the road, it doesn't sound as bad as it initially did. I think I was that way. I wasn't a grunge fan at the time, but now I kind of like going back and listening to that. Somebody else saying that the grunge movement was like having the Neil Young fall collection. I thought that was pretty good. Definitely.
He's saying the Europeans wore a tie and nice shoes, so the Americans looked embarrassing dressing the way they dressed.
Mm-hmm. And Heidi Gloss and I have talked about this before. There was a time when I never would have worn sneakers or tennis shoes with jeans or a dress. That just wasn't a look that I did. And now it's
you wore some really expensive tennis shoes yesterday, it looked like.
They were not really expensive, but they're comfortable. Yeah. They were gold, but they were not really expensive. But I do definitely wear more comfy shoes than I used to.
If somebody wants to buy tennis shoes slightly used at a really good price, right by the Olivet Diner is that kind of hip-hop shop where they have hundreds of tennis shoes that I thought when I walked in they were new, and they sell them at a discounted price. It's what the kids wear, the really cool thing. Like Joe Davis is the tennis shoe expert at KTRS.
He's a sneakerhead?
Yeah, he has the greatest collection of shoes ever. So I think if you need to talk shoes, we'll bring Joe in here too.
Yeah, that's it's fun. I think it's like anything else that you collect. It can be a lot of fun. Well, something else that's actually fun, I never thought I would be saying this, but it's learning about Medicare and Medicare regulations, but that's only because of Ryan Raphael, the Medicare man. He loves what he does so much that it's kind of infectious. We love having him on the show. You guys love it when we have him as our guest because you ask the best questions and he answers it in real time. So stay tuned. He's going to be with us days in the next week or so to come do right before we get into enrollment time in October. He's going to be in to answer all of your questions. He's always happy to do it, so make sure you have those ready for him. If you know you have questions for him that are very specific to your situation and you need to get some answers to make sure you enroll in the right plan, you get all the information you need, or you've heard something that feels confounding or confusing, or by the way, you live in Illinois and you've heard about all of the plans that are even not going to be operating there anymore, now's the time to set up your appointment. It's going to be a very busy enrollment period for Ryan Raphael. He says perhaps the busiest ever. So today's the day. Get it off your checklist. Reach out to him, 314-368-6808, MedicareManSTL.com. For the right plan, call the Medicare Man.
Hi, it's David Sherwood of the Inside Out Show and president of Sherwood's Forest on Barrett Station Road, just south of Manchester. Fall planting season is here now. We are fully stocked with the area's largest selection of evergreens, Japanese maples, magnolias, and shade trees. Choose from lilac trees, sugar maples, birch, October glory, hornbeams, and crab to provide summertime shade and great fall and spring color. At Sherwood's Forest, you'll also find hundreds of green giant arborvitae and junipers to screen thy neighbor.
And right now, get 5 mums for $40.
Sherwood's Forest has been planting smiles for over 45 years, so head to the forest, Sherwood's Forest at 2651 Barrett Station Road, or check out our inventory at sherwoods-forest.com or call 314-966-0028.
The fall leaves are starting to change colors, and soon enough they'll be dropping. Do you have old or damaged trees that need to come down too? Let the qualified arborists at Raised Tree Service do the work for you. Raised Tree Service has over 30 years of experience servicing the St. Louis area. Give them a call today at 314-821-2665 for a free estimate with one of their professionals. That's 314-821-2665 or online at raisedtreeservice.com.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
I'm Reed Millard, president of Lupton Millard Chapel of St. Louis. We've been faithfully serving St. Louis families for generations. At Lupton Millard Chapel, we understand it's the little things that make a big difference for the families we serve. A traditional church funeral or a unique celebration of life. Providing the finest in services and attention to detail has always been the hallmark of our family.
Lupton Millard Chapel, the leader in excellence since 1905. For more information, go to luptonmillardchapel.com.
Truck drivers and owner-operators, there's never been a better time to team up at Schneider. We have more team-friendly loads than ever, including express delivery parcel freight that offers great miles with no delays to keep the wheels turning. Plus, for a limited time, company team drivers may be eligible for a sign-on bonus of up to $16,000. Owner-operator teams may qualify for a $10,000 incentive. Explore team driver positions at SchneiderJobs.com and search team contracting jobs at SchneiderOwnerOperators.com.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Be part of the moment as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra returns home to Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Conducted by music director Stefan Denev, opening weekend fanfare for Powell Hall opens a monumental season with a trio of fanfares celebrating the past, present, and future, and featuring Grammy Award winner soprano Joyce DiDonato, September 26th, 27th, and 28th. Tickets at slso.org.
Not too sure what you'd like to have for lunch today, but your stomach's rumbling like all of ours is in the studio. We've got the answer for ourselves, for you, for everybody. 3 Bay Barbecue and Bakery, always an incredible meal for lunch. Pulled pork, chicken, brisket, saucy rib sandwich, smash burger tacos, pork belly wraps. It's just so darn good in the Phillips 66 station at Clayton Road and 141. Or for your next meal that you are going to need to be catering, whether that's a birthday party, a shower, something for your office. They do an excellent job at that as well. Check out 3baybbqandbakery.com for the entire menu. Give them a call, 636-227-1208 to make your order. We have a fun restaurant that is going to be serving up some toasted ravs tomorrow for the weekly special.
Yeah, great people. Mama's Restaurante is coming in, and they are one of the restaurants that brought toasted ravioli to the St. Louis area. Their food is terrific. The red sauce, the steak modiga, they do a great job. It's a husband and wife team who are just terrific people. We're excited about that.
What's coming up on the press box tonight?
Press box, a whole lot of nothing. Charles Tuna Edwards will be bashing Mizzou. Andy Strickland will be talking hockey, and we'll be on from 6 to 7. So we're excited about that.
So something new. Tuna is criticizing our home state.
Only he could find flaw in a team that's in the top 20 in college football and is undefeated and about to play Alabama in a couple of weeks. How about this week that we have UMass? UMass lost to a school called Bryant University. Have either of the two of you ever heard of Bryant University?
Mm-mm.
I've heard of Bryant Gumbel, but not Bryant University.
I had not, although I'm looking it up right now.
But there's a lot of regional universities.
It's in Rhode Island.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah. And they got beat by 43 and 32. It's just going to be brutal. It's what we call the blood donor game, where they'll come in and they'll get punctured and then they'll get a check for leaving. It'll be between $500,000 and $1 million. Probably closer to $1 million for just
Aren't those usually earlier in the season? And
Yeah.
usually once you get into conference play, since they had their first SEC opener last week, isn't it a little bit of a strange kind of progression?
It just depends. Like Alabama has won the second to last game of the season. They play Illinois State, I think.
Wow.
So it just depends on when you schedule them.
Yeah. But I will say this. They have 4 ranked opponents, including Alabama. The schedule's going to get a whole lot more difficult. And yesterday, the news came out about the schedule in 26 and 27, where you have to play 9 SEC teams. It's going to be brutal for Missouri coming up with these schedules. I mean, it'd be great for the fans, but, man, it's going to be tough to get a lot of wins.
So that's been a change that was made by the conference only,
Yeah.
and they said we just need everybody in the conference to be playing more conference games.
Exactly.
And what's the motivation for that?
Just better
revenue?
competition, more interest. Yeah.
Interesting. Back on the question that we've had throughout the entire show today about Halloween, we've got a few people that are giving out things like quarters or those glow-in-the-dark bracelets. Are you guys team candy, or do you think it's kind of, when you were a kid, did you think it was kind of fun to get something that wasn't candy?
No, it was always candy, and the worst was like when if there was a dentist in
Yes.
the neighborhood.
We had
get
one
like
of
a
those too.
toothbrush.
Are you kidding?
No.
You got a toothbrush?
We did too.
Or like
my
some
gosh.
floss. It was like, all right.
Just had to take a stand,
Yeah,
even on
it's-
Halloween.
People asking, so why do schools play these games like UMass? It doesn't make you a better team? No, but it does fund the rest of your athletic department. So, those baseball teams, they don't make any money. Gymnastics doesn't make any money. Soccer doesn't make any money. You need money, and that's what they're going to get from Mizzou this weekend.
Yeah, that was my son-in-law played football at Drake, and their first 2 games of the season were always brutal, butt kickings, because they would help fund the rest of what the program was trying to do to travel around. Hey, this was a really fun show. We've got another great show lined up for you tomorrow. As we mentioned, the weekly special. Greg, we're going to have Tony. Is it Shoemaker or Schumacher? The 8-time NHRA champion is going to be joining us
Tony
as
Schumacher,
well.
yes.
It's going to be a really good show. John Carney up next with Julie and Max. And, of course, Heidi Glau's show later in the afternoon. Keep your dial right here and make it a great day, everybody.
You're still